$1 million.
Because they're both downstairs.
Test.
We get it. John Cena, really? Falling with the John Cena.
Is that what it's from?
Yeah. John Cena.
I didn't know that.
Okay,
Look,
so
we got Luke sitting right.
What, can I not split the? Why can I not press plus to start? Is it because I'm not player 1?
Is your controller on?
Yeah, but I'm player 3.
I'm player 1. I think.
No, you're player
I'm
2. I
better
think.
than
Look at
you.
your controller. Oh, your controller won't even turn on. That's the dead one.
No,
This
I'm
is
player.
player 1.
I'm player 2.
Now your controller keeps dying. Put this battery in your controller.
Oh.
Because this is player 1. But you gotta put that battery in your controller. Because we stupid, we can't change what player you are.
Alright. The Maze Runner series, though.
We're 80% through this. I think I like it. Probably.
I think you will, because the first 3 books in the series are all about Thomas and like
Tank
his
engine?
experiences. Thomas the Train. But then like the 3rd, which I'm reading right now, is about other people, and I think it's like the past versus the future, which seems pretty interesting. But considering I finished that book in 2 days, I mean it's pretty good.
Yeah, I would assume.
I mean, I do that a lot though. It's not very new.
Yeah,
How does this go in, dude?
I feel like it's gonna be like one of those.
It's like Harry Potter for me.
Yeah,
those 2 books are like
Harry Potter, or like not Lord of the Rings, but Hunger Games. That's what I was.
The thing about Hunger Games though is that like the author isn't that talented at actually writing.
Why are you trying? You need to get this in, dude.
I don't know. I just wasn't annoyed that it was out.
Hunger Games is the one I was gonna.
Hunger Games is good. Like the story's really good, but the actual like writing of it kind of sucks. Because it's just like awkward. You know when like authors write from first person, sometimes it doesn't work and it just sounds like they're talking. And then like they have these random big words thrown in there and it just sounds like a little kid trying to sound like an adult. So that's how I see it sometimes. It's especially bad on like Divergent, but
Really? Divergent? I thought Divergent was good. Was Divergent actually bad? Like storyline?
the story
like
was good. Just
dialogue-wise?
writing.
Oh.
Like the way it's written sucks a lot. Same
There was a
thing.
lot of parts in Divergent that weren't in the movie, actually.
The movies were dumb. Like the first one was like a movie, you know,
I mean,
just like
Shakespeare
takes
did
out
good,
some
but-
things. But like the second and third just kind of completely lost the storyline. And I'm really
Well, I
mad
feel
because like
the
if they
second
do
and
that,
third book lost
if
the
they
storyline.
do that with,
I didn't really like the third book that much.
I know. I feel like if they had just stopped it after Triss had gotten like through Divergent training and stuff, and like after they rebelled and everything, I feel like it would have been like more.
You know what?
I didn't like the story after like Dauntless was messed up. Like while she was in Dauntless, I thought it was really good.
I didn't think.
then it just-
Yeah. The whole Dauntless, the whole factions thing was cool.
That was
like,
super
that was
cool.
That was what I
like,
thought the whole story was going to be about.
Yeah,
and then they
I
just
thought-
discovered the outside world,
thought
and
it
it
was
just
gonna
became a
be
regular story.
something between it. Exactly. Yeah, I was like the actual thing. Oh shoot! I just killed
You
someone.
just
I didn't mean to
started
do
it
that.
out.
Let's get out of here, guys. Bye. No, like the actual story of Divergent was really good in the beginning, and then it just. Are you Yoda?
This guy's chasing me.
Hey, could you
I
stop
need
shooting me?
to.
The actual storyline, though, in the beginning was really good, and it was like, you know, her switching factions and everything, and I thought that part made a lot of sense, and like, even like the government trying to keep them in these different factions that, like, you know, and killing divergence and everything. I thought it was going to be something more along the lines of, like, just rebelling against the government, not going out and finding this other world where, like, everything's just normal. Like, I thought it was just going to be
I thought
normal where they, like, rebel against something.
That's, like, some of the stories that have plot twists like that, like, Hunger Games did it pretty good.
Hunger Games did it really well, yeah.
Because they kept it inside the realm of Hunger Games instead of going out.
Yeah, they kept it inside their districts. There wasn't, like, a real world where, oh, now it's totally normal and there's nothing to do with the story anymore.
But the only... Oh, watch out. And then, the story that did it really, really well, though, was,
That's you? I thought that was something else.
Me. What's the one story with the colors? Where you can't see the colors. The Giver.
That was really good. Well. Have you read the whole series?
No, I didn't know that was movie.
You gotta read it.
I really like that.
The way Lewis Lowry puts that story together is actually so cool. Because, like, each story is from a different person's technical perspective. Because it is in third person, but you know what I mean. Like, it's a story about a different person, and in the end, they all connect. And it's just really cool. Because usually, you know, it's, like, the same person the entire... What is this?
That's just if you want to go on.
Can we go to the big, like, city ones?
Oh, yeah.
And mess around?
I don't think we've actually beat those on this week yet.
No, probably not. I don't know. Like, Hunger Games is one of, like, my favorite storylines.
We haven't beat that.
And Divergent is good in the beginning. But after, like, after Insurgent, I think, is when it kind of messed up. Like, the whole part where, you know, Trish gets, like, almost killed because she gets put under the serum and everything. But, like, the last book, once they find, like, whatever the Allegiant group and everything, that's when it just starts sucking. Like, I feel like she's let it on for too long in her own writing. Because it just didn't work at all.
Yeah, I don't even really remember which one's second. Insurgent's second,
Insurgent's
right? Legion's
second.
third. Insurgent wasn't too bad, except for her haircut. I hated that.
That was actually because she was filming The Fault in Our Stars next. It was supposed to be shoulder length, because that's how she cut it in.
She does not look good in short hair.
No, she doesn't.
Does not look good in short hair.
No, she doesn't look good in a pixie cut, honestly. Like in The Fault in Our Stars, because she was acting in that right after. Her hair actually, like, it doesn't look bad when it's short, but it's the fact that it was like a total pixie cut. It was like your hair when you were little, except on her. It just didn't work. Why am I keep going? Where's Luke?
Are you looking for Luke?
Oh, dude, that's not Luke.
He's right. Isn't he right here?
Yeah, he's. I don't. Where did he go?
Hold on, Princess Leia Slave.
Watch us not have Luke.
Luke Endor.
Wait.
I swear he's over
There's
here.
Luke. I'm gonna be Hoth Luke Skywalker.
Oh, found him. He's right here if you want.
Okay, I'm being this guy though.
Okay, well
He's Hoth.
I'll be
He's
different.
goth.
I'll be a different version of Anakin.
This is goth Luke Skywalker.
I'll be little Anakin.
Little Anakin. No, like I think because my favorite books are dystopian. So like The Giver, Divergent, The Hunger Games, Harry Potter, even though it's not really dystopian, it's fantasy, but what else? The Maze Runner. All of that, like wait, I forgot we were going in this. I have to do this all with a gun.
Oh, you have a gun? You can change people.
I'm gonna be this guy. Like I think who wrote The Hunger Games? I know Veronica Roth.
Hunger Games?
No, it was
J.K. Rowling.
No, it's I almost said Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, you know Jennifer Aniston, a well-known author.
A well-known author? No. Who wrote it? I feel like it starts with an L. It's like
Logan Paul.
Yeah, Logan Paul. No, the last name. I feel like it has something to do with Lawrence.
That probably is.
I don't know, but either way, the way the two of them write in like Divergent and Hunger Games is like the same, because they have these weird like random words that are just kind of thrown in there that make the book sound like it's trying to be a good book, but it just doesn't work because of the way the rest of it's written, and how like there's really not much description because it always uses the same words. And one thing I didn't like about Divergent is how it was always like, oh, Triss is so tough, she's so tough, but she cries every 3 pages.
Yeah,
because she literally never stopped crying.
Well, the thing is, the only thing I didn't like about Divergent, they kept saying that she was so tough instead of just showing.
I know, that's the thing.
They just kept pushing the idea, but they were showing that she was weak.
The thing, that's what I really didn't like about the story. Like, the writing never really showed the story. It was always, like, Triss telling, and Triss telling, and Triss telling. And it was always, like, there was never any show, you know? I mean, I guess there was in some points, like, when she, you know, does stuff to save other people, but it's really rare. And it's like, oh, she's so selfless and blah, 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 but it just doesn't. Really. You don't really see it much.
Yeah. You're in a car.
But in Hunger Games, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at driving this.
You're supposed to follow the blueprints.
In the Hunger Games, though, the storyline is really good, and the way that she keeps it in the, like, whole idea of having the districts and having no one else there is good. And like the war and everything, like all of that is really good. It's just
that's
the writing could
the way
so
that that Divergent or like, you know, Allegiant ends kind of reminds me of, like, you haven't read Drifter yet, right?
No.
At the end of that book, it kind of doesn't seem right. Like
the ending doesn't quite fit.
Yeah, the ending's like he's like this spy, but it ends with him. Which letter is this? This is the G. No, wait, that's the L. Okay. It ends with him not like.
On top of the one.
I don't know. I'm trying to explain something. I'm trying to force stuff. And it's just not working.
I see that.
He gets captured at one point. I'm trying to do this without.
That's not the right one.
He gets captured at one point.
Oh my gosh, sorry. I thought it was on the force. He gets captured, and... Okay.
I'm trying to focus
love that E there.
Okay, you got it. Got it? Yeah. Nope.
Okay, he gets captured.
He gets captured and he, like, gets out. But it literally ends the story with him not figuring out, like, the mystery of them capturing him.
I feel really like that's weird. Honestly how... Well, not in the same way, but that's how Twilight was.
He doesn't figure out why they captured him or what anything had to do with the story. He literally just got captured.
It like a bunch of things that just happened and then never had an explanation?
Yeah.
Because that's how Twilight was, and I kind of hated that book a lot. Like, all the books, like, you know, certain parts are interesting, and then you sit there and you're like, but why is any of this relevant to anything? Yeah, it was
interesting when I was reading it, and then I got to the end, and I was like, wait, that's the end? Like, it didn't explain.
I know you're never going to read Twilight. Honestly, I would never recommend Twilight to anyone, because it's like, the fact that the story is like, she finds a guy, and then now she's, you know, having this, like, now she has a deadly life because of the fact that she has this guy in her life who's a vampire. Like, that's literally the entire story, is now vampires are going to chase her until they all die. That's, like, the entire story. All 3 books. It's like, oh, I accidentally exposed you to this one vampire. Now he's going to try to kill you. Next book, now his mate is going to try to kill you because we killed him. And now, next book is like, oh, there's a vampire war over the fact that you're human. And that is the entire story. And it is so dumb.
Yeah, see, that's not the type
and
of
I was
story
like, the whole time I was thinking, oh, there's going to be this, like, actual reason for it. After the first book, I was like, oh, they're actually going to have some sort of, like, storyline. But no, it's just Bella's being chased by vampires. I almost died again. Oh no. And then it's like, end of story. Everything's happy. It's like a fairy tale. Stop. I'm trying to put my lightsaber away. I'm not trying to electrocute you. It's really stupid.
Yeah, I don't think Twilight's not one of those books that I always would get Twilight confused with Titanic. For some reason, because when I was
Titanic
little,
is actually really good though.
No, I know, but I'd always get Titanic confused with Twilight because when I was little, the name, I didn't really understand the difference, and so I'd always think when people are talking about Twilight, they were talking about Titanic, and I always think of the movie with because is Titanic the movie with
It's about Titanic.
No,
it's about Jack and Rose.
Okay, yeah, Jack and Rose.
Yeah, that movie's actually super good. It's like the longest movie ever, but it's really good.
The only thing is it's not very logical.
Like 3.5 hours long. But...
She could definitely have let him be on the thing with her, but
what thing?
The what do you call it?
The piece of
wood or whatever.
The piece of shit.
Yeah, it was definitely big enough for both of them.
They should have done it in the movie where it was really small. Yeah. No, I didn't understand that part, but the movie's actually really good. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
It's actually really good. I watched it at Robin's house when I was cat sitting, because she said I could watch the movie.
Robin?
Across the street. No. Across the street.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I was watching her lizard and her cat or whatever. Yeah, I watched it over there. It's so long, but it's really good. Look, I have one of these guys. Sloop, sloop. The Maze Runner, though, you're gonna love the Maze Runner so much. It's like that. It's like a Harry Potter book. It also reminds me of, you probably will never read it, but the Lunar Chronicles, because it's basically the way she wrote those.
That is actually.
You don't? Okay, basically it's a bunch of not ripoffs, but it's based on fairy tales. So the first one is based on Cinderella, because there's this girl who, she's a cyborg though, because it's in the future to the point where when people are almost dead, they replace their body parts with metals and whatever, and connect it to their veins and stuff, which is actually really cool. Okay. And so her brain, because she was in a fire, and her brain is completely covered in fake nerves and stuff. So, and her heart is fake and everything, because they could save her from literally being dead because they can make her a cyborg. So it's basically about this girl who has these sisters and stuff, and it's during this part where it's kind of like the Black Plague going on, and so all these people are dying, and they're taking all the cyborgs in the world and trying to find a cure or whatever, because some of them are immune and all this random stuff. And the plot twists in the story are so good because of the fact that they make sense, and when authors have those really when authors have those really well thought out plots and war plans and stuff, where it's okay, I'll do this and you do that, and when this is happening, you sneak up and kill this person, or all that kind of stuff. And it's super well thought out, and there's all these different parts to it, and you're how the heck did you come up with that? Right? You know what I mean?
When the characters in the story have those. Okay, yeah. And
they come up with this huge plan, and there's all these different parts and pieces, and it's this has to happen first, and then this, and in order to do this, you have to do that, and all that kind of stuff. Those are the good books,
Mission Impossible,
which is what you rarely find anymore. And that's kind of how the Maze Runner is, but the Lunar Chronicles is done really well. Actually, in the end, the girl she's fighting stabs her in the heart, and right after she gets stabbed in the heart, she shoots her in the head. So the girl she's fighting dies, but she doesn't because she has a big heart. So they can save her because she's already cyborg. That's pretty. It is actually really funny. Not funny. Cool. That's what I meant. Not funny. The one thing about that story is nobody dies. so it's like not as realistic. Because in the Maze Runner, people die, and it's sad.
I hate stories where bad guys can't aim until it's time for someone to die, and then they're the best sharpshooters in the world, and it's like the first shot just hits.
No, Maze Runner's not like that at all. It's actually really, really crazy. Like, every single, like, the entire story as you're reading it, actually, no. First, like, 5 chapters, I had a hard time getting into the story because, like, it's setting everything up. But, like, after that, when I went back and read it again after I finished, because I realized that I really didn't know what it said in the beginning because I couldn't really focus on it, you know what I mean? I went back and read it after the story was done, and it just became interesting suddenly because I knew all the backstory and what was going to happen. So, I mean, it's not that boring, but you just have to, like, give it a couple chapters to actually, like, get the gist of what's going on. Because, you know, he wakes up and he doesn't even know his name. Or he knows his name. And that's it. And, like, so it's kind of hard to explain anything when you only know your name, right? So, what is this? Is this like a little chopper?
I have no idea.
Chopstick,
Something that
the
Wookiees.
chopstick plane.
Something that Wookiees use.
I'm gonna call it the chopstick plane. It's gonna be named Choppy.
Choppy?
This is Choppy.
Alright.
Chop, chop, chop,
What's up,
chop,
Choppy?
chop, 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 chop. Hey, boy. You look like a dung beetle.
Dung.
It's from Harry Potter.
That was one of the...
That's what I was gonna say. Maze Runner is like Harry Potter in the way that, like, everything in the before happens. Like, you know, all throughout the school year, clues, and at the end there's the big thing.
Yeah.
That's how it is in Maze Runner. It's not just like, ooh, look, we found this out, now we can do this.
So, like, it's one of those books where you could go back, read it again, and then...
You're like, oh, that's where this comes in. You're like,
so, like, that's why they
that
gave
makes
us that
sense
hint.
now. And yeah, that kind of book. That's why it's really good. Like, those are my
I
favorite
like those
kinds of
type of
books.
movies.
No, books are the best like
Yeah,
that,
but I
too.
haven't read a book in a while, so...
Yeah, I read one yesterday and today and kind of finished that book in a day and a half. I mean, I read that book in, like, what, 7 hours?
Yeah, it was not very long time.
But it was good, because I already...
No, what the...
After you finish it, you're gonna know my least favorite page number in the entire one, ever.
394.
No, that's the best page number. Snape has the best page numbers. Nobody has better page numbers than Snape.
They're the greatest.
They're the greatest page
Tremendous.
numbers. They're huge. They can be huge, Evan.
Everyone else thinks they have good page numbers, but we all know they don't.
Look at that, I did that with one stroke. If only I was Luke, I could say that I'm Luke, but I'm not, so that's depressing, but it's fine. What is this? You still have a door? You know what would be really funny? If there was just a movie and it was like, let's blow up the whole house, and it literally showed this. And they were like, okay, so we were gonna break into this house, but the door is the thing that stays. Like, that's pretty ironic.
It's like, alright, demolition
like,
crew,
okay, we're
let's
gonna
get in here,
break
and then
in
they blow up
and
the
blow up
house.
the entire house, and the door just is standing there. And they're like,
You
the
blow
whole
up the
point
entire house, and
was
then
to
the
break down
door,
the door.
is left. And they're like, alright, door demolition crew, we need you. It's your time to shine.
missed. I gotta do a little loopy with this.
Do little.
Why am I driving without steering? Whoa, you're on the swings? I want to be on the swings.
It's also fun as a Jedi.
Yeah.
Wee.
We should go
Isn't
into
this
that.
thing right here supposed to, like, fly off?
Let's go into the ice one. The ice level. Where, like, you have to get up the thing with the ice and the stormtroopers can't do it.
Oh.
My favorite level, in other words. Look, I have a fast speeder. I can run you over if I want to.
How am I supposed to do this? Hey.
What is your favorite book, though? Or series, or whatever. I can't decide between Harry Potter and Maze Runner. Now, so you know it's good. Because, you know, Harry Potter.
My favorite book series? I'd have to say...
I'm slapping you just like that.
I really like,
Hey.
whatchamacallit, I really like...
That's a good series.
Yeah.
Your face on the mud.
Life, the Universe, and Everything. I really like that, actually.
What's it about?
It's just literally a story about guys traveling in the universe.
I thought you were gonna say
it's
it's the
one that says the answer to everything is 42. It's that one.
Is it actually 42?
Yeah, the answer to life, the universe, and everything is 42.
It doesn't even make sense.
Well, basically, the whole story is about this computer that was supposed to be like this supercomputer that could solve any problem. So they asked it to solve the life, the universe, and everything, and it spit out 42 is the answer.
Huh.
That's the book.
I'm gonna have to read that.
Other than that, I don't know what other book series I've like totally read all the way through.
Harry Potter.
Well, yeah, Harry Potter.
But like forever ago.
Yeah. Lord of the Rings, I actually want to read all the way through.
Me, I haven't read that yet because it's like such a hard read.
Yeah.
Because of the language and like the way that everything's said is like so hard to understand. I actually started trying to read it. I got through a couple chapters like the beginning of this year, and I couldn't do it. What? Is that what I said?
Yeah. Yeah, I got through a couple chapters.
Oh, you know, any of those chapters. Chapters.
Chapters.
I don't really think they say chapters in British.
Chappers.
No, I don't know if they actually say chapters or if it's a different word for it.
What are you supposed to do with this? I know there's something you're supposed to do with this.
Chapter. We're going
supposed
on a
to spin
trip
off.
in our favorite rocket ship, spinning through the sky. On this wheel of
It's
fame.
supposed to like fly off.
Climb aboard,
It's not
get
doing
ready
it.
to spin. There's so much to do.
What the?
Caillou. I just randomly thought of that. What is that song again? It's like Caillou, Caillou.
Caillou, Caillou, does whatever a Caillou can.
I thought you actually knew it for a second, and I was like,
No, I just know Caillou, Caillou. That's it. Okay, we're missing something here, clearly. We need 15,000 more coins. What the?
Fame isn't everything. Isn't Mr. Potter. Every time I say Mr. Potter in Snape's voice, I want to say Mr. Potter. Because the way that the minister says it. Mr. Potter.
Mr.
Look, he has to do a little flip.
Yeah, well, he's the emperor. What do you expect?
He's like, do a flippy flop.
I am General
I thought that said drunken droid, but it just says.
It is a drunken droid.
Look, I give me Luke Skywalker. Oh, that's the Luke Skywalker that I came in as. Look, I can do a roll. Flip it. It's a cinnamon roll. It's called a gonk droid. That's pretty funny. Look, I'm Anakin Skywalker. TC-14. I'm Silver C-3PO, dude. Wow, he can move fast. I can almost catch up with your little dude thing. Almost faster than your giant walker. I'm just behind by about half a mile. That's all.
You're catching up, though.
Look how fast I am in this guy.
Alright, let's see. What else can I destroy?
It's faster than you are.
I don't see anything else that can break.
We need a new topic.
10,000. Yeah. How about Infinity War?
That was good, but I hated it at the same time. Because frickin' Spider-Man died. And Tony Stark was so sad about it.
I know.
And
that's the first time I've ever seen Tony Stark actually show real emotion.
I know. I was like, that right there is when you know. Because do you remember in Spider-Man Homecoming, that scene where like it's like the first kind of emotional scene between Spider-Man and Tony Stark, where like Spider-Man's like talking to the suit, at least he thinks so, and he's like, if you even cared, you'd actually be here. And then he opens up the suit and walks out, and he's like, I have to live with that guilt forever if you die or something.
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
right
exactly.
there.
The part where he's like,
He's
but if you die,
I have to live with that guilt. Yeah, he's like, I have to live with that guilt forever, or whatever. And then I was like, right there. That's like the first time Tony Stark has ever showed like any sort of fear over someone, and I feel like that's because of the fact that he's a kid, and that's literally Tony Stark's responsibility because he freaking recruited a kid that nobody else believed in except for him.
Mm-hmm.
Which shows a lot about him and how Peter Parker doesn't actually think that he believes in him when he's really the only one who does.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, Peter's just trying to do his best.
I feel like it's because he doesn't really have anything solid in his life and he wants something solid. Because his life, from what it seems like, is pretty unstable.
Yeah,
in the way that May doesn't ever really know what's going on. She kind of seems like...
The next movie would be interesting, though, because of how that movie ended. What the...
Yeah, I know. Have you seen the trailer? Because that really confused me.
Wait, their trailer's out already?
I thought so.
For the next one? The trailer's out for Avengers Endgame.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That one is crazy.
When does that one come out?
Tony Stark, and he's like...
Tony Stark is, like, dead inside.
Yeah,
he's like... literally, like...
He's over here like, I'm out of food, or whatever. That was insane.
Yeah, I know. Like, what if he actually dies? And then, like...
I think they're gonna kill Tony Stark in this one.
I think he's really gonna
sacrifice.
Because he...
Either him or Captain America.
It seems to me like Tony Stark is gonna die and Captain America is gonna sacrifice himself or something. That's what I'm seeing from it. Because the way that Captain America comes back into it, as like, at least in the trailer, it looked like he was just kind of like, I'm ready for this. And Tony Stark is like already given up over here.
Yeah, he really has given up because he lost everything. He lost Pepper.
What about his wife, though?
Yeah, that's Pepper. He left her. Remember when he was on the ship and she was like, please tell me you're not on that ship. And he was like, I have to go now. And then just left because he didn't want to say it.
What do you mean?
You don't remember that?
Well, I remember that scene, but aren't they still married?
Well, yeah, but like, now he can't communicate with her.
Oh,
and he lost Peter.
And then he has... Peter was like his son, honestly. I honestly see that relationship there as like a father-son relationship that, Peter doesn't have either. So... Then I feel like Tony Stark saw that. Which probably made it even more of a thing for him.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. I'm still a droid.
What are we even missing? Something.
I'm kind of just following you around. I haven't really done anything.
Well, I don't really know.
Because I just kind of...
What the...
The door opens.
What was the Guardians? Literally all of them
Is Groot gonna come back alive?
I don't know.
Because just watch him grow up as a tree. And then
literally all of them are
Peter
dead
comes
except
back.
for
It was like Tony Stark, that one guy.
Gamora's in the Soul Stone. We know that. My theory is for the next movie, everyone is in the Soul Stone. That's what I think.
Yeah, and like when the Soul Stone gets destroyed, they'll all come back or something.
And I think they're going to use the Quantum Realm because you haven't seen Ant-Man, have you? Like Ant the Wasp?
No.
The way that the cut scene at the end of that movie is Scott going into Ant-Man. He goes into the Quantum Realm, but instead of it being unstable, like when his mother went in, it's completely stable, and they have it all set up so that they can bring him back. What?
The Quantum Realm.
It's like the smallest you can go.
Oh, okay.
And so nobody ever went there before, but he finally goes there, and then they can't. And then while he's in there, you just hear the thing, like he's talking to them on this walkie-talkie, and you're looking at him, and then it just goes, and he can't, like he just goes silent. He's like, ha ha, very funny guys, okay, can you bring me out? And then it goes back to them, and all you see is ashes falling.
Oh,
so Thanos snapped while he was in the Quantum Realm.
Shoot.
So all three of the people who could get him out of the Quantum Realm are now ashes. So he's stuck in the Quantum Realm. in the next movie.
So he's gonna get out of there somehow.
I think Captain Marvel is gonna help get him out of there.
Captain Marvel? Who's that?
You don't know who Captain Marvel is?
No. When does he come out?
She. It's like she's the most powerful Marvel superhero. She literally has like.
Is she the one with Vision? Amazing...
She's the one that has like the orange beams. She can like shoot out of her face
and
like her
Vision?
hands and all that. What?
Is that the one who's with Vision?
No. That's Scarlet Witch. She's like one of the most powerful, but she faded away too.
Is Vision dead? I know
right now, yeah, because he got it ripped out of his head.
Right. Right. So that. Yeah, I feel like Captain America's gonna sacrifice himself, and then somehow by like breaking the stones by doing. Maybe it's like something where the only way the stones can be destroyed is by like someone dying or something. Because it seemed like with that one stone where they went into it, like, wait, what if he traded places with all the people that were in the stone?
Wait.
So then, like, after the stone was destroyed, he was no longer, like, part of the world because he, like, switched places with them or something? Like, what if it's some sort of, like, not dimensional kind of thing? Where, you know, like, when someone, like, goes to a different dimension, they're technically dead because they're not on, like, alive anymore, but really they could come back. Like, one of those like kind of stories. Yeah. Something like that. Except there's no way for humans to get back in. Because, like, what if it's destroyed?
That could be an interesting take. Like, maybe... Because, you know how Thanos had to get the Soul Stone, right? How he had to sacrifice Gamora.
Yeah, by dropping her into that thing.
What if
it's the same thing to destroy the stones? Yeah, what if, like,
Captain America sacrifices himself?
To trade places with everyone else.
To get everyone else
Yeah, that's
out
what
of
I've been thinking. But
because
I
think
we
all
need
the
to watch
stones...
Aquaman. Is he part of the...
No, that's DC.
No?
That's Batman.
I still want to watch that, though.
Yeah, you probably
will.
But
I want to watch
Ant-Man.
That's what I meant, not Aquaman.
Ant-Man.
I need to watch that movie.
I also need to watch Thor Ragnarok because you know how they were all on that ship?
I need to watch all of them. I haven't seen, like, any of them.
I haven't seen that many. I haven't even seen Black Panther.
We should watch all of them.
But you know how Thor, you know how they started on that ship where Thor was getting like dragged around and the Hulk, got like teleported or whatever. Remember that? And they started out on the ship and then he killed Loki.
In the very beginning.
Yeah, when he like.
Is Loki actually dead now? Yeah, Loki's dead.
I'm pretty sure Loki's dead.
Who's Loki, anyways?
Thor's brother.
Well, I got that, but like, who is he? Because like
he's just another god.
There was just like suddenly all these.
Loki's the guy who tried to get. Loki's the guy who tried to get the Tesseract. Remember in the first Avengers? Thor's the god of thunder.
So he's like Zeus.
Yeah, pretty much. In this story, yeah.
Thor is Zeus.
And then Loki's the god of mischief. But you remember the guy who's trying to get the like big scepter thing with the blue cube in it in the first Avengers? Who like brought all the aliens down. They had like the big giant snake alien that was just flying around everywhere. I don't know if you remember that, but that's who Loki is. I
don't remember anything, but like literally the only thing that I remember is that there was another Avengers movie. I watched it one time. That's all I remember ever. We need to go through and watch all those, and Black Panther and everything. I don't know. I just hope Spider-Man comes back alive because he's the best character. Can you like think of a more iconic entrance than like that one scene where Tony Stark is about to die and Spider-Man comes in and like grabs the guy's hand and is like, "Hey," and he like shoves him off and then he's like, "Kid, how'd you get here?" And then he's like in the middle of talking and he grabs him and flings him across the park. Like, that is the best entrance I have ever seen.
That was pretty good.
Because you're all like, "Oh my god, he's gonna literally die." And then Peter Parker just comes in and he's just like, "Hey, I'm Spider-Man."
Yeah, I like that. And
it's just like
we need to watch Civil War because that's the first one where Spider-Man gets introduced.
Have you seen the interviews with Tom Holland? He said it's really He said it's really easy for him to act like Spider-Man because, you know, Spider-Man's a 15-year-old and he actually feels like a 15-year-old. That's what he said. He said, "You know, it's not that hard for me to act because genuinely I feel like a 15-year-old." And I just thought that was really funny.
He is
He's 22, I think.
Yeah, he's really good at acting like an actual teenager, because that's the problem
Well,
with
he acts like a teenager. Like what he
in
does
real life,
and stuff.
though. That's the thing.
I know. Yeah, he acts
It's
like a teenager.
not like it's actually an act. It's
No,
literally just his
that's
personality.
Just him, which is really funny and really, really useful, because he's such a good actor too. And then there was one where, like, you know the scene with, like, the smoke where he's supposed to act like... I remember, like, at the end of the Spider-Man Homecoming movie where it's, like, there's, like, the smoky stuff in the air and everything, and he's, like, supposed to look like he's about to cry because of, like, the fact that Tony Stark said that if he's nothing without the suit, then he shouldn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And remember when he, like, thinks back to that moment? He said that in that moment, after he did that thing, like, the producer or whatever... And the director was like, that was really, really good emotion. He was like, that? Oh, that was just the smoke.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
That is
I saw that.
such a Tom Holland comment right there.
Have you seen all the, like, have you seen the food one with him? Where he's trying
food?
the American food versus the British food?
Have you seen the beer one? He tries root beer versus, whatever
he's like,
that
root
pop
beer,
is.
what is...
He's like, that's really disgusting.
Yeah.
It's like...
He's like, oh, that's... And he's like, oh, I can swear, can I?
Yeah, that was so funny. He's like that. Sorry, that's disgusting. And I'm gonna spit in here, and then he spits it out, and he sits there, and for a second, and he goes, wait, I can swear, can I? And then that was just funny. Like that's like a teenager right there.
And then what was the other one that was
And Tessa, his dog.
his dog
is the best.
What was it? If your nan doesn't get you what were they called? I don't remember. It was something. He's like, if your nan doesn't get you these, is she even your nan? Like, I thought it was so funny.
There's, what did he say? There's one where he was like, seems like every time I walk up to a fan, they're like, I'll be like, hi, how are you? And they're like, you're English? And then he's like, yeah.
Have you seen the one where they make him sing?
Yes, and he's like, I can't sing, and he's like moving around like he's super nervous. Have you seen the one where he's like, I just have to have something to do with my hands? And like, you look like all his videos, and he's like always moving around and like changing his position all the time.
Yeah, I love seeing the ones where he's with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Those are the best ones.
I like it when he puts his hand over his face because he's not just
saying
something that he's not supposed to.
I'll take that one.
Well, there's like sometimes where he'll like literally go like that to him and like
Yeah.
stop him from talking. I'm like, wait, I can't say that, can I? That's so funny. Whoa! That made me a bit.
I think Tom Holland's gotten better though at not spoiling stuff. Like, I can't believe he spoiled the new like the title for the new Spider-Man movie. Literally, as soon as they decided it, they were like, "All right, we're gonna send out scripts." And
you know what's really funny?
Hey, everybody, here's the title.
I know. It's just, that's really funny. He's like, you know that new movie he's doing for Pixar, the Onward movie?
No,
because he put out a thing. It's on his Instagram, and he's like, I know we're not really supposed to say this, but I just can't keep it a secret anymore, so I am lucky enough to be doing a Pixar movie called Onward, and he's like, I'm not really supposed to tell you this, but I'm going to anyway.
And the thing is, Ned works so well with him in the movies.
Well, Ned is like his best
perfect.
friend. Ned is one of his best friends, actually, so.
Well, yeah, that's the good thing. There's not many people besides, like, you know,
well, I feel
Rupert Grint, Emma Watson,
well,
and Daniel
it goes
Radcliffe
well when they're
did
kids.
really well.
It's once you get
friends.
older, because you already have your friends. But the fact that he's so young and like so funny and everything, you can't just like not like Tom Holland, because he's like, especially on set, and the character he's playing, he has to be funny anyways.
Yeah. But he's just naturally funny, so it's like.
Did I tell you about that dream I had where it's like half of Tom Holland's interview was incorporated?
No.
Okay, well, so for Tom Holland, I was watching an interview where he was talking about his, what's it called?
Spider Sense.
No, his, what was it called? His when you audition, his audition. They said he did all his lines. He was like, I did all my lines, and then they were like, can you do it as a wolf? And he was like, what? And so I literally just did this, and did all the lines like again, just like regularly. And I thought that was super funny, and it was right before I went to bed. And then that night I had a dream that I was at Rocky, and I was doing an audition for some reason, and I went in there, and they were like asking me to audition, and I had to do it as a wolf after that, and so I put my hands like that, and then I came out, and I was just like standing in the Rocky hallway. It was completely empty, like I was the only one who auditioned or something. And Mama calls me, and I pick up my phone, and I was like, hello? And she's like, you seriously got in trouble with the law again? And I was like, what? She goes, you were making an inappropriate sign in the auditioning room. And I was like, what is that supposed to mean? And suddenly she's right in front of me, and I'm not talking on the phone anymore. She goes, this is not allowed. She goes, I am not bailing you out of jail again. Like, and I woke up, and I was so confused.
What kind of dream do you have?
I did not understand that in the slightest. But that's where that came from. So now it's the funniest thing. I can't get that interview out of my head now, because every time I think of a wolf or something, I just keep thinking of that dream.
Okay.
Did you know Daniel Radcliffe broke a total of like 88 wands throughout filming? Because he kept on using them as drumsticks. Because the guy who plays Sirius Black used them as drumsticks. And it's really funny, because it's like in the story, like, you know, his father figure. It's like he's just copying his father figure.
There was I think it was Luke, actually, that broke a bunch of wands when they were originally filming Star Wars.
I mean, he breaks a lot of lightsabers.
Not wands. I said he said wands.
Wands.
I'm gonna have to kick you guys out of here. I'm going to bed.
Okay.
Alrighty then. We should.
How was the hot chocolate?
I don't know. I don't think Evan drank it.
Yeah, dude. It's good.
I thought you were on strike from what? How did I just build a house by destroying that? I was like, ooh, let's destroy this. Oh, look, I built a house. You know, that should be how life goes. It's like
Luke's good job. Right?
Like you throw this cup and it just transforms into a bigger it transforms. Yeah. We should go downstairs and work on our city for a little bit. What time is it?
What time is it? Because I have a game at 12 tomorrow.
They're going to bed down here.
What time is it, Grandpa?
It is like almost 11:30.
Okay, yeah, I should probably go to bed.
Yeah.
Like, shower and go to bed. Not tomorrow night, though.
Alright. What day is tomorrow?
Saturday.
Yeah, we can do that tomorrow night. And then the next week I have to start working on my craft homework.
Did you do anything with your microphone?
Yeah, we're using it right now.
Yeah.
Because you should have her sing. You could record her singing.
I can't sing. I hate singing in front of people. I can't do it. I only sing in the shower. Have you seen where he says, I like to shower American because he has to practice his accent before every single thing. So he's like, I have to shower American. And then she's like, I like to see this shower American thing. He's like, well, I can't shower because that would be inappropriate. I was like, yeah, he's such a teenager. Like, if I was an adult, he would be like, well, basically, I just say this.
Tomorrow we're supposed to get a little snow, just so you know.
Then I'll wear more fuzzy socks.
Grandpa Ryman over here.
Well, that's a wrap for podcast number 1.
Number 1?
Number
It's
12.
like-
Luke just looks defensive all the time. I think we're just gonna calm him down here.
Alright, well, go ahead and end this.
That's a bad ending.
Tomorrow.
No, we have to be like, bye.
Thanks for listening.
I'm still British. I'm still English.
Bye.